More information is starting to come out about this story and this attempted assassination of Donald Trump. Now, I was streaming when the news broke, and there was a lot of unanswered questions. Now, as that stream went on, we started to, there was a little tidbits that would come out, and we were all like, this story stinks. And by that, I mean, there's far more to it than meets the eye, particularly with the Secret Service. And if you see some of the footage, or it's almost like drone footage, where you see that basically this dude on this roof had a direct line of sight, and the fact that that was not secured makes absolutely no sense. And then you see some of these chicks who are part of Secret Service for whatever reason. I don't know what some 5'6" chick is going to do trying to protect a man that's 6'3", looking unqualified. All of that part stinks. But I more so want to talk about, and I'm going to give you my thoughts here, because it has now been revealed, who the shooter was, and this is a guy by the name of Thomas Matthew Crooks. And they're calling him a Biden donor, but there's also been reports, and I'm reading this from Daily Mail, that he was which also stinks even more, he was a Republican, he was a registered Republican, whatever the hell that means. And as it says right here, the registered Republican, but he did donate to a deal that donated to Biden. Young guy, 20 years old. This is goofy looking idiot right there. 20 years old, there's him graduating. Young guy, took it upon himself to try to take out the president. We've seen all of the bad takes that have been out there, okay? Terrible takes. Jesus, man, they really wanted this guy dead. They did. And they would have cheered had it happened. Of course, we're supposed to be led to believe that, well, it's the other side that is the violent, the politically violent ones. And you can go watch my previous video where I broke that stuff down. And, even over the last decade, who has actually been inflicting this sort of political violence? And it hasn't been the quote-unquote right for the most part. But their ability to control the narrative is spectacular. And I have a theory, less of a theory, and just more of what you need to take into consideration, all things considered, okay? Young guy, right? This guy is, 20 years old, okay? Keep that in mind, okay? So he's 20, so he would have been in, high school not too long ago. And you look at a guy that young, and then you take into consideration all of the channels, proper channels. This guy probably, for the most part, was exposed to all sorts of filth. And this is the dangers of how politics is carried in this country. The left has done a phenomenal job of controlling the mediums that people go to get the legitimate form of anything, for that matter. Even if the people that are in those positions of power are not qualified, they can be outright dumb. It doesn't necessarily matter, because they understand what only some people on the quote-unquote right have. Breitbart, understood this. Politics, right? It's on the downstream of culture, right? So the left realized they don't need to be the smartest people in the room. They don't need to be intellectuals, even though that intellectual class is largely controlled by leftists anyway. And I'll talk about that here in a bit. But they don't need to be that smart in order to convince people of whatever they want. They just need to control the culturally relevant things. So you could think of, if you are a young person, and we all know where the young people tend to trend. It's even worse now. We know what's going on with their mental health crisis. We know what's going on with where they are slanted to the lean socialistic, economically worse than they've ever had in human history, in modern history, in terms of this data being kept up. Okay? That's all young people have been exposed to. Academia, they go through the educational system. That's one line of opinion. All of their entertainment, the things that they care about, everybody, all the representatives, their favorite actors, their favorite creators, their favorite, everything, just anything entertainment-wise, the allowed position is leftism. So when you start to see these young folks start to act out, that's where my mind immediately went to. I went to, well, what else are they supposed to come out? You've been actively, funny, they use the term radicalizing all the time. And I'm like, these young folk have been preached doom and gloom from the climate bull crap all the way down to what we're dealing with here in the political world and in the political landscape. Klansmen, I guess, are just peeping around a corner, ready to jump out of a bush. And Trump is leading the charge. Worst person in the world, even though they lied about everything with January 6th. They said he incited an insurrection. That's what they called it, right? Which is hilarious because, what was that? Not that long ago, Biden said something about putting him in his bullseye, Trump, right? Now, that doesn't mean apparently shooting him, right? And I'm not even saying that it means that. I'm just saying that even with January 6th, Trump even explicitly stating, hey, guys, don't go do this. That was enough for them to think that he was inciting a riot. Yeah, when Biden said, look, that's what I'm talking about. Hypocrisy be down. I mean, we could talk about how they're hypocrites all day long. None of it matters. Because why? They control what people deem as the proper channels, especially young people. That's the opinion that they're exposed to. So this is the thing that I fear, that it might get worse before it gets better. The more that I've thought about this, the good news is if you're being an optimist, I've seen people now that are even normies on this given subject start to speak out about how foul that was. So this is why I believe that this is sealed. I think it's over with. I just think any of the shenanigans and cooking the books, I don't think there's much that they're going to be able to do to cover the spread because it's over with. That's how I see it. That said, there's still a lot of young, crazy, deranged folk out there. And it's the environment that they are a part of. And I'm not talking about like with their parents and all that. I'm just talking about culturally. Just think about it. Those of you that get it, those of you that know where to find information, those of you that vet stuff, that's different. Try to think or look at things through the lens of a young person that's 20-something years old, don't know nothing from nothing. And you think about the amount of garbage and filth that's being pumped into their brains, and then when they go act out and do something wild, and that's not to excuse it, this guy's a piece of crap. This is why I'm looking at like, damn, could it get worse before it gets better? How many other people have been radicalized? I don't know. But it's just a whole lot of craziness going on right now. And as I said, man, the story in itself just stinks.